Hey, this is my neighborhood. It's my backyard, my house. If anybody wants to persecute me or throw any stones at me or find me, this is where you could do it, this neighborhood here. Got my mailbox over here. Whoa! The 10 Commandments on the fence. What's this all about? Do we even keep the 10 Commandments anymore? Is that even real? Let's look at the 4th one. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. What? Wasn't that done away with by Jesus or something? So let's talk about it. The Sabbath. Is Sunday the Sabbath? That's what Roman Emperor Constantine said, that Sunday was the Sabbath. Around 321 AD. They changed the Sabbath. The Vatican's a big part of it too. The 4th commandment, look it up in the Roman Catholic version of the 10 Commandments. What about the 2nd commandment? You shall have no graven images, no idols. Roman Catholic Church took that one all the way out of there. It's not even existing in their 10 Commandments. But of the 4th, should we keep the Sabbath? What is the Sabbath? When even is it? Well, according to the Bible, Sabbath is from Friday at sundown to Saturday at sundown. What? I thought it was Sunday. No. Well, don't we have to then go to church on Saturday? No. The Sabbath is a commandment to rest. God doesn't want us to work on the Sabbath, and it's a blessing for us. He made it for us, so that's our day to just chill out, relax in His presence, to be at peace, to rest with our family, hang out with our loved ones, and to really just seek the will of God on that day and consecrate YahuShua HaMashiach in our hearts. So I want to talk about it. Is it an ordinance of men that was done away with by the cross? No. When Passover rolls around, I'm not bringing in some lamb from the stalls and slaughtering it because the lamb's already been slaughtered. But I'll still keep that weekly Sabbath because it's, remember, part of God's 10 Commandments. That's right. But wait, you might say, the Apostle Paul took care of all that. He rebuked the Galatians. He says, you honor days and times and seasons. Why do you want to go back into bondage, oh foolish Galatians? Some people say that he was talking about the Sabbath day. He really wasn't. How dare the Apostle Paul call the Sabbath the bondage? Because didn't Isaiah, God's prophet, say in Isaiah chapter 58 to call the Sabbath a delight and God's holy day a blessing? He sure did. Got a car coming up here. Hope these people have been blessed by seeing the Sabbath sign over here day by day, but we'll let them have their peace. So, there's another verse in Colossians, one might say. Don't let any man judge you because of the Sabbaths or a holy day feast or a new moon. That means that they shouldn't keep the Sabbath, right? No, it doesn't mean that at all. What it means is that just like Jesus was judged on the Sabbath for healing people, doing other things on the Sabbath, so too are God's churches being judged on the Sabbath, whether it was coming from judgment from the Gentiles, them saying, you're fools, you're Jews now, or from the Jewish people saying, do not pick up that mat on the Sabbath, do not pick that ear of corn on the Sabbath, just like they did with the Lord. Why are you not sacrificing a lamb on the Sabbath? You have not done it correctly. So the Apostle Paul was warning them of two extremes. He was not saying to not partake of God's holy days. He was surely not saying to not partake of the Sabbath. There's a few more verses that people stumble over and attempt to justify their doctrine of men that says we are not to keep God's 4th commandment. But God, the Apostle Paul even says it is the keeping of the commandments that matters. Jesus said, I have come not to abolish the law, but to fulfill the law. To fulfill means to bring the full meaning to light, to achieve what the law is all about, which is honoring God with all your heart, soul, and mind, and loving Him and your neighbor as yourself. Which you can see here. These 4 are all about God. 5 through 10 are all about others. So we have the 4, loving God with all your heart, soul, and mind and strength. 5 through 10, loving your neighbor as yourself. If you do those 2 things, then you will, by nature, automatically keep these 4. If you love your neighbor as yourself, you're sure not going to steal from them or covet your neighbor's wife. So, I just wanted to talk about that, guys. The Sabbath is a great blessing. I started honoring the Lord's Sabbath a few years ago, and then a pastor of a church of men talked me out of it, but it didn't really sit right with me, as did anything else in the churches that I was being taught. So I started keeping God's Sabbath, and it's a great blessing, and I hope y'all will be blessed in it too. So it is Monday here. Friday is only like 4 or 5 short nights away, and you can see the sun setting right over there above that house. So on Friday about this time, I'll be getting ready for the Lord's Sabbath, to bless His name, to rest in Him, to chill out from my week's labor, and to really just set that day aside as holy. And it's going to be awesome, as it always is. There's a great blessing in keeping God's Sabbath. And I encourage y'all to keep the Sabbath too. I actually really exhort you with the passion to keep God's Sabbath in keeping with His commandments. So, love you. Have a good one. In the name of YahuShua HaMashiach, be blessed.